Welcome to BIO-CHEM Academy. Today, we'll be looking into chain rule shortcuts. I'll be showing you how to solve chain rule using just 5 steps. The first step is bring down the power. Bring down the power. The second step says differentiate expression inside the brackets. The third step says write the bracket and change. The fourth step, reduce the power by 1. Right, fifth step, multiply everything together. So using this 5 step, you can successfully use this is the first step used to I'll show you how to use this 5 step to solve any question based on chain rule. So the first is what? Bring down the power. Bring down the power. The second step, differentiate the expression inside the brackets. You have to differentiate the expression inside the brackets. The third step says write the brackets and change. While the fourth step, reduce the power by 1. And the last step, multiply everything all together. Let's take an example to see how it works. Let's see 1 is equal to 4x plus 3 raised power, let's say power 3. Then we have to differentiate y with respect to x. This becomes the y over the x, which is equal to bring down the power first times, then differentiate the expression. The second step says differentiate the expression inside the brackets. Then differentiate the expression inside the bracket. We have to differentiate this becomes 1 times 4 becomes 4. 1 minus 1, 0. X raised by 0, 1. And 4 times 1 becomes 4. Loss times. We have to differentiate this. This is what? This is constant. So the derivative of this becomes what? 0. Then the third step says what? Write the bracket and change. Then let's write our bracket and change. 4x plus 3 bracket. The fourth step says reduce the power by 1. We have to reduce the power by 1, which is what? 3 minus 1. Now, our change in y with respect to x, what about the x? Becomes 4 times 3 becomes what? 12 times we have to reduce power by 1. This is 3. 3 minus 1 becomes this is 2. So this becomes bracket 4x plus 3 raised power 2. So the y over the x now this becomes 12 brackets what? Don't forget that the last step says multiply everything together. So now this becomes 4x plus 3 raised power 2. This should be the final answer. Let's take another question. Let's take another question. Let's say y is equal to 5/2 of bx plus n bracket this by 3. Then differentiate. In this case, is to what? Make it in form of index. Look away to convert it to form of index. That is to make it in this form. I say this, I come again. Whenever I give you questions in this form, first we need to what? First make it in form of index. That is in this form. So for us to make these questions in form of index, then we have to apply the law of indices, which is square root of a becomes a raised to power 1/2. Then and cube root of a or third root of a is still the same thing as equal to 1 raised to power a raised to power 1/3. Then you can say our y is equal to, this becomes, we have our 5, we have b bracket bx plus n bracket, we have what? 1/5 bracket 3, this 3. So you can now say 3 times 1 becomes 3. Then you can say y is equal to bracket bx plus n over 3 times 1 becomes 3. This becomes 3/5. So now, getting to this point, then you have now made these questions in form of what? In form of index. Then you can now apply chain shortcuts. So now to apply our chain shortcuts, this now becomes changing y over changing x. It now becomes, in this case, the first step says what? Bring down the power. We have to first bring down the power. This becomes 3/5 times multiplied by. We have to, the second step says write the bracket, differentiate the expression inside the brackets. So now to differentiate the expression inside this bracket, this becomes, this is a term with x. So whenever you have to differentiate a term with s, it's what? It's the derivative always becomes that particular term. This is what I'm trying to say. That is, if I have to differentiate dx, this plus 1 times 3 becomes what? B. 1 minus 1 becomes 0. X raised to power 0 becomes what? 1. So, and b times 1 becomes what? B. So here you have b. And this is what? This is just a what? This is a constant. And whenever I differentiate a constant, it always sticks to what? 0. So now this is off. So and the next step is write the bracket unchanged. We have to write the bracket unchanged multiplied by, we have what? We have to write bx plus n raised to power 3/5. The first step says reduce the power by 1. We have to what? Reduce it what? By 1. So now we can now say the y over the x now becomes 3 times b becomes what? 3b over what? Over 5 times, here we have times bx plus n. This power, we have 3 over 5 minus 1. Here, if I say 3 over 5 minus 1 over 1, this now becomes 5 goes in 5 1 times 1, 5 goes 5 1 times 3 becomes 3 minus 1, 5 goes in 1. That's 5. 5 times 1, 5. This becomes minus 2 over 5. 3 minus 5 becomes minus 2 over 5. So now, in this case, you cannot say this becomes minus 2 over 5. The fourth step says reduce the power by 1. We have to reduce the power by 1. This becomes the y over the x is the same thing as what is equal to 3b over 5 times bx plus n raised by minus 2 over 5 minus I'm sorry, the access is what we have already reduced the power by 1, which is minus 2 over 5. Then the last step is what? Multiply everything together. This becomes we have to multiply everything together. Let's first look a way to eliminate this minus. If I have to eliminate this minus, then we use this, the law of this is a raised power minus n is equal to 1 over a raised to power n. Then you can now say our dy over ds is equal to this 3b over 5 is equal times this becomes 1 over this come down over bs plus n raised power 2 over 5. Then you can say dy over ds is equal to 3b times 1 is 3b over this 5 times this becomes 5 brackets bs plus n raised power 2 over 5. And get to this point, we have not, this is not the actual answer, this is not the final answer. We have to what? Convert it back to the what? To the original root, that is to how it was given. To how it was given. This is how it was given. So we have to what? Convert it back to the what? To the original root. So now to do that, we have to apply the law of indices. Let's say our dy over the s is same as there's law of indices. Root a is still the same thing as what? It's still the same as a raised by 1 over 2. Then we have to apply this law of indices to this to convert this back to the what? To the original root. This now becomes 3b over here we have what? We have our 5. We have our these are 5 and we have what? Fifth root of what? We have our fifth root of we have dx plus what? Plus n bracket raised power what? We have 2. This is the final answer. Let's take another question. Let's say, given that y is equal to square root of 4x plus, let me see, 7. Whenever I always say, whenever I are giving questions in this form, you need to first make it in form of index. Even though if we are to apply chain rule formula, we have to first make the questions in form of index, that is in this form. Then you apply chain rule formula or chain rule shortcut. So now in this case, you can say our y is equal to, if you have to apply what is it called? Our law of indices, which is root a is the same as what? A raised by 1 over 2. Then this becomes what? This becomes bracket 4x plus 7 raised by 1 over 2. So now, getting these points, you can now say, you can now apply our chain rule shortcut. So to apply our chain shortcut, our chain dy over chain dx is equal to the first one. So the first step says bring down the power. You have to first bring down the power, multiply by, then differentiate the expression inside the bracket. That's the second step. So you have to differentiate expression inside this bracket. This is what? This is a times s. This is 4s. So 1 times 4 becomes what? 4. 1 minus 1 becomes 0. And s raised by 0 is what? 1. 4 times 1 is what? 4. So, and this is constant. This is constant. And you have to, if you have to differentiate a constant, your derivative is always what? 0. This is all. Times. The third step says write the bracket unchanged. So if I have to write the bracket unchanged, this becomes 4x plus 7 bracket raised to power 1 over 2. Then the fourth step says reduce the power by 1. If I have to reduce this power by 1, this is what? Minus 1. So now I will change the y over the x. The y over the x now becomes 1 times 4 becomes 1 becomes what? 4 over 2 times 4x plus 7 brackets. This becomes what? Half minus 1 is what? Minus half. So I will change the y over change the x. It now becomes, let's look a way to eliminate this minus. So let's look a way to eliminate this minus. So to get this minus eliminated, we apply the law of physics, which says a raised to power minus n. This is written as what? 1 over a raised to power n. Then we can now say this becomes 4 over 2 times this come down becomes 1 over 4x plus 7 open bracket and close bracket 1 over 2. Then in this case, this now becomes, I will change the y, I will change the s, now become 4 times 1 is what? We have what? 4, and 2 times this becomes over what? Becomes 2 bracket 4s plus 7 raised to power 1 over 2. We are not stopping here. We have to convert this back to its original root. That is, to how it was given in question. So now, to convert it back to how it was given, or how the question was given, then this now becomes the y over the f. It now becomes a. Don't forget to apply this law of physics. This is with a, is still the same thing as what? As a raised to power 1 over 2. Then this now becomes 4 over here. We have square root. We have square root of what? Here. We have 2 bracket what? Square root of 4x plus 7. This is the final answer. So now let's take another question. Let's say y is equal to 1 over 3s plus let's say 8. Now you can pause the video and and solve it yourself. But let's solve it. In this case, we have to what? I say whenever I have a question in this way, first we need to what? You need to what? Make it in form of index. That is, you have to make it in what? In this form. So now, in order to make this in form of index, you have to apply the law of physics, which says a raised to what? Raised to power n. A raised to power minus n is exist now as 1 over a raised to power n. So now, in this case, we can now say our change in y. We can say our y is the same thing as what? As 3s plus 8 raised to power minus 1. Then, in this case, getting to this point, we can now apply the law of R. We can now apply our chain shortcuts. So now, we can now say change the y over the s is still the same, is equal to bring down. The first step says what? Bring down the power, which is what? Minus 1 times. The second step says differentiate the expression inside the brackets. Which is what? If I differentiate these expressions, 3s becomes what? 3. Whenever I differentiate a term with s, it's always give back what? The derivative is always what? Always the term. And this is a constant. And whenever I differentiate a constant, it's always what? 0. So this is off. Times then the next step is what? We write the bracket function. That is, we write our bracket function 3s plus 8 bracket 8 minus 1. And the first step says what? Reduce the power by 1. So this becomes minus 1. Then our change dy with respect to x, that is dy over x, we now becomes our change dy with respect to x, we now becomes minus 1 times 3. Now because what? This is what? Minus 3. We have minus 3. We have minus 3 times, we have here, this becomes 3s plus 8 raised power what? Minus 1 becomes what? Minus 2. So now changing the y over the s, we now becomes here. Let's look a way to eliminate this minus. So we can now say minus 3 times, if we have to eliminate this minus, we are applying the law of indices. Uses a raised power minus n is since now 1 over what? 1 over a raised power n. Then we can say this now becomes times 1 over bracket 3s plus 8 raised power 2. So now in this case, then this now becomes the last step says what? Multiply everything together. So now if we have to multiply everything, together. So now this now becomes dy over the f. We now become 3 times minus 3 times 1 becomes what? Because we have minus 3 over here. We have 3x plus 8 raised power 2. So now in this case, get this point. This is not actually this is our answer. The final answer now becomes what? Becomes minus 3 over 3x plus 8 raised power 2. Thanks for watching.